Okay, we have an answer. Watch my last video for context if you want it. Quote, what I was trying to say with the epilogue is 1. Certain kinds of low effort / derivative art, in my opinion, fall below a threshold where I would personally call them art. 2. This is not limited to the world of hobbyists or students, but happens plenty in the legit acclaimed commercial artist sphere. 3. I give 2 examples of successful artists who I wholeheartedly feel embody this. One makes money off literally making blown-up shiny carbon copies of works other artists created, the other mass-produces colorful doodles that he has his assistants fill in with colors. 4. Yet, this breed of low-effort commercial artists are so protective of their low-effort art that they litigate others over similarities. 5. And hey, isn't it funny that one of the examples I've been showing this whole time has actually been an indistinguishable derivative work? End quote. Firstly, thank you, Captain. This really clears things up. Secondly, a lot of my sputtering confusion in that last video was, in retrospect, just me trying to avoid the conclusion that this was the actual take, because I couldn't comprehend someone in Captain's line of work, visual effects and, on YouTube at least, art education, holding these exact opinions. A lot of the comments on my last video seem to interpret the entire thing as sarcasm, and I am critically poor at detecting sarcasm myself. They almost had me convinced of it, because it's hard to imagine someone with his level of expertise bookending an educational video with something this irresponsibly judgmental and pig-headed, and it just doesn't make sense on the face of it. Like, now that we know he's being sincere, we've determined that he really does consider procedural animation to be authorless. The simulated motion of the cloth dynamics is one of the things he points to as cause to question whether Kian Furutan produces art, which is, I'm sorry, it's an incredibly brave position for a visual effects artist to hold. Like, I have to assume that I'm missing something here because it just doesn't compute. But beyond that, I flatly disagree with many of the points made in this clearer version of the argument, ignoring how poorly they were served by the video's rhetoric. Captain D is a great artist and craftsman. I don't think he's a very good critic. He's making a century-old blunder here. Some of the greatest and most influential art made in the modern era has been far more dubiously derivative than Kian's Instagram posts. With the turn of the 20th century came the understanding that one of the foundational facets of art is its context. Changing context changes the art, just as it would changing its medium. Kian's work is far from merely being a collage, but if it were as the captain describes, it would still be the first time these disparate elements have ever come together into a synthesis of form. Like, that's a photo, but that's a gaudy hyperkitsch porcelain sculpture that makes you want to kill someone, right? Irrespective of the law, this is a new piece of art. This argument here is, to say the least, ahistoric. I don't know. Maybe calling him an educator is putting some unfair expectations on him. Like, he's a YouTuber. He has opinions. You don't get into debunking viral hoaxes with this much effort unless you really believe it's the right thing to do. But the dancing phantoms aren't a hoax. It's a demonstration of 2 fields of visual effects that Captain is knowledgeable in, and the video is steadfastly informational until we dip headfirst into this incredibly out-of-place, underthought, modern art bad rant. And, okay, there's a 50% chance I'm making this up, but calling attention to the tracking slippage in the edit before suddenly veering into strictly denying that Kian is an artist at all, it feels like poisoning the well. It feels like we're still in 2012 and we're debunking trashy UFO sightings. I opened that first video by saying that I was 7 years old when Captain D started working because I don't want to pretend like I'm smarter than him. That would be impossible. However, based on what I do know, I think Captain D should know better. Thanks for watching.